Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to thank you for being so humble and nice, considerate to come out here and listen to what I have to say. But what I have to say is mine. It was never mine. It's ours. I never believed that I would find myself in front of an audience having to talk about a subject that we all once knew. A subject that is as old as creation. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, we have to just take a look at the zoo. The zookeeper doesn't feed the gorilla the food of the polar bear. Am I right? So how come we eat the food of everybody? We'll begin this lecture by letting you know, first of all, I'm your brother. No more, no less than you. I can't be smarter than you. That's impossible. We have the same amount of brain cells. So how was I privileged to be navigated to this information? I don't know. I don't even question myself. I just like to live. As a little boy, I hated school. That is the truth. I didn't go to school. I didn't like school. I didn't like to comb my hair. I didn't like a whole lot of things. I didn't like money. I was 12 years of age. I was Seventh-day Adventist. Corby Brown. We left that afternoon from the church. It was the 13th Sabbath. I said, Kirby, how did you like the lecture? I didn't. I said, why you didn't, Kirby? Because they talk about Solomon. I want money. I said, Kirby, but when you have wisdom, you have everything. Well, I don't know what wisdom is now, nor then, but I knew that money was not my pursuit. Kirby said, I want money. We were 12 years of age, 1945. I'm 73 years of age now. In 1994, a young man by the name of Tom Flowers came to me and said, guess who is coming tomorrow? I said, who? Kirby Brown. I said, well, if I remember correctly, Kirby said when we were 12 that he wanted money. I hope he made millions of dollars. I don't have any millions. I don't even have $1,000. Which I don't. But that's okay. I live. I found that avenue, or it was shown to me how to live. Not to read books. Because everybody reads books. But yet, society is deteriorating more every day. Everybody reads books. The brother called the other day on the radio and said that he asked about corn, right? Corn? He read books. He said that the text, the Kemetic text showed him that corn is good. Well, he better examine his text because corn was made by man. But anyway, Kirby said he wanted money. That was a Thursday. Tom Flowers said, Kirby is coming tomorrow. So I said, well, if Kirby didn't make his millions, I'm going to remind him that we are alive. We are alive. Kirby didn't arrive. Kirby would never arrive. They had to take axe to chop the hotel door down. Kirby died of a heart attack. Kirby weighed 390 pounds. Kirby wanted money. He became a cab driver in New York. I didn't want any money. I didn't want it then or now. Because it's not important in your life. It was never important in our lives. The Maya shows that. The Maya built pyramids. The Maya lived for millions of years in the jungles of Central America. No money. The Africans? How long did we live in Africa without money? Since creation. Now they tell us we need money to fight AIDS. Brothers and sisters, we are at a deficit, a tremendous deficit, a deficit that if we do not pay attention, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because I remain that obedient boy that just lost his mama 4 days ago. I listen. But to listen, you can't have a philosophy in your head. If you have a philosophy in your head, you cannot listen to anyone. I was there. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I listened to no one but those things that came from the church. Well, if I was to listen to the church today, the Seventh-day Adventists, I'd be eating tofu. I'll be sick. You see? I'll be eating tofu. If I had gone to school, I would have become a medical scientist. I wouldn't have been able to cure AIDS, because they do not. They don't cure AIDS. If I had listened to all of the philosophies of Europe, I would have never been able to find the answer to the cure of diseases. But today, I'm going to share with you the African wisdom, the African brain, the African genesis, the African resonance, something that was never taught to us in the schools. Well, why should we expect the school to teach us something that would enhance our growth and save our lives? Why should the school teach you that? When in history has there ever been examples to show that one race of people is indebted to another? That has never been. Then you tell me that the white man is a bigot. The white man was never a bigot. He was never a discriminator. The white man is a person that obeys the first law of nature. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. So the white man, whenever he proceeds to preserve his race, and we sit back and say he's a bigot, it's only because we have lost it and we don't even know how to get ourselves out of this mess. I'm one of them. I'm you standing here. But one day, it was to be that your brother would be shown something that would change the profile of things. I left my country, where I was born then. In 1953 to New Orleans, I became a merchant seaman. I was 20 years of age. As a merchant seaman, I became an engineer 5 years later. I'm a steam engineer. Don't ask me how I did that, because that's going to baffle you, because I've never been to school, and I don't read books. I don't read books now, nobody's book. I'm not even going to read my own. Because all the book readers come to me asking me, how did you cure AIDS? But that's like asking the gorilla, hey man, how come you keep yourself healthy without a hospital? How come you don't have any medicines? We'll begin. I became a merchant seaman right quick to take you through my life. Left Honduras without going to school, became a merchant seaman, became an engineer, worked for the County of Los Angeles as an engineer. While as an engineer, the County of Los Angeles, something is to happen. Something is to change my life completely. First, it was a Mexican. The Mexican said to me, you're dying. I said, I know. How do you know? Because I fell out going to the bathroom a Sunday afternoon, and I didn't reach the bathroom. I got up off the floor. Something must have happened between there and the bathroom. But I had gone to the neurologist, the endocrinologist, the GER practitioner in Russia and England and Germany and France, United States. And they were people that knows what it is about. They had the great big books on medical science. But my asthma and my diabetes, my impotence was kicking. What happened to the books? They read books. All the physicians that treated this boy read books of all kinds. Nothing happened. I goes to Mexico, and the Mexican have a goat in his house. Every 5 words it was bad, bad. And I'm looking around. The Mexican said, the goat bothering you? I said, no. You're dying because you are disobedient. Then he brought the Holy Bible. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the land. That's in the Bible, isn't it? But how could we honor our mother and our fathers when we don't even know what they were about? You don't tell that to an elephant to honor his mother, because when he's born, he follows his mother and watch what his mother eats. Do you and I know what our mothers ate in Africa? We don't know, yet we dialogue. We dialogue on this level of intelligence because I know Plato, I know Aristotle, I know all about Diogenes, but you don't know what your mama ate. So everything that you talk about means absolutely nothing. So you see where they have us at a deficit? That's why we need each other's. Now when I became an engineer, the Mexican said, stop eating. Don't eat anything. For how long? 3 months. I said, are you crazy? He said, no, you nuts. You ask me if I'm crazy. You've been eating garbage for 30 years. You've been eating garbage. And I'm going to remove the garbage for 90 days and you ask me if I'm crazy. What was I eating? Hog maws, chitlin, neck bones, crackling bread, Lorne in New Orleans. Eggs, because the grown-ups told me when my penis wasn't getting hard, eat eggs, drink raw eggs. And I did, by the dozens. And nothing happened. The Mexican said, don't worry about it, don't eat. 90 days later, I was no longer impotent, no longer diabetic, no longer asthmatic, no longer with glasses on my eyes, and this stomach hair was 42. What happened to the science that the physicians were using? medical science. It didn't work, isn't it? But it worked with me. The herbs work with me. This Bible says, in the book of Revelation, it says 22 verse, and the first chapter, it talks about the herbs for medicine. Am I right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what could have happened to us that when my brother, who was a preacher for 30 years, was sick, and instead of going to God's medicine, he went to the physician to get a chemical in his arm. My brother died 21 years ago. I'm not a preacher. I would never be a preacher. I told that to my mother. She wanted me to be the preacher. I said, no, 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 no. That would be the last thing that I would consider. She said, why? I said, because I want to live truth. Even if it kills me, I'm going to live truth. And truth is, the Bible says that the herbs are for the healing of the nations. But the preacher, when he gets sick, he go get a chemical. What is the message he's sending to God? Come on, just be truthful. Let us be truthful today. If never again in our life, let us be that today. Why do we go to see the doctor to give us a chemical when the Bible says the herbs are for the healing? Why do we go? Well, you're going to soon find out. That's what affected me then and probably affecting me now to a great degree, more than I would ever realize. Because remember, I want to go to the blackboard. Roughly speaking, Africa, way overhead we put America. They are 4,500 miles. What happened between here and here? A lot happened. You see, when we were here, without the mathematics, without the ABC, without the sciences, when we were here, we had something to our advantage that we no longer have here. We are blind here. Here we weren't. We were seeing. Why? Because God provided us with everything we needed here. And none of it was comfrey or rice and beans. There were no tofu. There were no soy there. There were no cows. And there were no hogs, no chicken. There were no flour. Those things didn't come from Africa. You see, rice and beans and flour and cheese and meat and the starch that you eat, they all came from right here, from a laboratory. Now, for us to eat, you have to have in your big skull the understanding of biochemistry. But when we were here, we didn't have to know anything about biochemistry. Why? Because God doesn't make poisons. You see, God doesn't make carrots. Well, let me put it here. Stop the garbage. Anytime someone tells you that tofu is good for you, that someone that just gave that information to you has one eye open. But he's confident that when he tells you to eat carrots and you drink it, you have both closed. So a one-eyed man is king where everybody's blind. But the one that recommends the tofu is only half seeing. He's blind. He got one eye open only. But he doesn't know it. Example. Before we get into the real lecture, pull this out. This is how people take privileges on us. They don't care about us. They bring us information that, oh God, that's why the rest of the world laughed at us. Because they know that we have both eyes closed. Here it is. Moringa. Moringa has 23 times the iron in spinach. Spinach has iron? No, because spinach, let me take my time because there's a whole lot of information. I don't want to jog it up. Anything that has a pH of 7 plus is alkali. Anything that has less 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is acid. Spinach. Acid. Why compare moringa with spinach? When spinach has a starch base, it has no iron. Seven times the calcium in milk. Milk has calcium. Well, I stopped drinking milk 42 years ago, and I could fall on my knees. You drink milk with moringa, because they said to mix it with making some pages here, you're not going to fall on your knees at 73. You're going to leave your knees down there. 11 times vitamin A that you find in carrots. Carrots has vitamin A. Carrots belongs on the acid side of life. So right there, and they said to mix with carrot juice. Why would they do that? Then up here, they talk about the Ayurvedic system of medicine recommends moringa. The Ayurvedic is Indian. The Ayurvedic system of medicine recommends cow milk. The Ayurvedic system of medicine has never cured any disease, nor moringa, nor any other system in the world. You know what this is like? When Steven Seagal tells me to come to his house because he had a headache for 5 years. Well, I knew why the headache was in his head. It was removed in less than 10 minutes. He had the bottle and said, "This bottle is powerful." I said, "Yeah, powerful, huh?" She said, "Yeah, the headache is gone." You know, he's the Dalai Lama, right? He wanted me to go to Kathmandu. Kathmandu? I'm going to go to Kathmandu. To do what? Talk to lamas. Lamas for what? What am I going to talk to lamas for? They couldn't cure your headache that you had for 5 years. The lamas need to come and see me, not me, the lama. But since we were compromised, we left all our food in Africa. You and I don't even know what we ate in Africa. So don't even go there. But we have the opportunity because one of your brothers happened not to go to school and look outside of the paradigm of school and found something altogether different. And what did I find? That anything that God made is on the alkali side. Why? The molecular structure is complete. It was made by nature, not man. Anything that God made has no starch. That's another thing. Anything that nature makes has no starch. Anything that man made has to have starch, because starch is a binder. To titrate two unequal chemicals, you have to use a starch. Starch is not a food. Starch is a chemical. And what have we been eating since they took us away from Africa? Starch and blood. Starch and blood. We didn't need blood in Africa. Gorilla doesn't need blood. He eats leaves and berries. But gorillas are sane. They listen to each other, and they have a society well put together. Well, Sebi, when he became the engineer, and he found out that the pH value of things had a lot to do with healing and the properties that's to be used, I was happy. I used to run home. Guess what I found? I found that the herb that everybody's talking about is acid, and everybody's using it. What herb is that? Comfrey. She said, what? I said, yes, it's on the acid side. And so is rose hips, enchilesia. What about golden seal? That's right, golden seal was made. It's like the stick that you put in your mouth. They call what? What they call it? The chew stick. What they call it? Liquid stick. Everybody have liquid stick in the mouth, right? But liquid stick was made. It has 50 times more sugar than does sugar itself. It has glycerinic acid. You see, we didn't have to study biochemistry in Africa, because everything we had there was on the alkali side, so we could eat anything. But when they brought us here, you know, put some clothes on now. And after they put the clothes on you, come here, boy. You got to get in front of this classroom. You have to learn this ABC stuff. But hold it now. Gorillas doesn't take their cubs to be trained by polar bears. Gorillas train her own cubs. The gorilla way. But no. You and I, our parents couldn't do better. They had to take us to the school because they wanted to save us, you know, protect us, because that's mother. Mother doesn't want child to suffer. So mother was shown that if child didn't go to school, they'd be illiterate, and the society is made up where you must go to school if you want to buy a Mercedes. But in our society, school, what you mean by school? We have such animal. We build things. And those who've been to school can't even build the pyramids today. Not in Honduras, not to mention the pyramids in Mexico. They're 4 times the size of the pyramids in Egypt. Oh yes. I know Ben Joker didn't talk about that. But that's okay. Because he needs help like I need help. We all need help. So the school that we thought was going to be so equitable, so useful, had become a deterrent. Because those that have been to school doesn't cure anything. How did I learn and I didn't go to school? Easy. You know, we babies, kids, we don't die. Right? We do it. I'm not wiser than you. I may be more mischievous than you. I know that because I do some mischievousness that you would not believe. But anyway, as an engineer, I went to work one night And I begin to test herbs. And I begin to see that all the herbs that you guys are using are acid, every single last one of them, except for burdock, yellow dock. They're natural herbs. And the other one, which is the red clover, that's a natural herb. You know, they're alkali. They're very good. So I begin by compounding herb from all over the world. And lo and behold, a blind man was killed named Mr. Fredericks. Then the Japanese, Fred Takashita's wife was killed of endometriosis. She had a baby. She was never supposed to have a baby. It's a white lady from Utah. My boss brought his daughter and his brother with ulcers. They were killed. The boss came to me one afternoon and said, "So you're going to leave me?" I said, "Yep." He said, "You're going to leave me? On your resume, you said that you didn't go to school. And the only reason why I hired you is that I was curious to find out how could a man have an engineer license, never been to school. I wanted you to fail. But instead, you did something that is extraordinary. Are all black people like you?" I say, "Brett Howell," his name is Brett Howell. "Are all black people like me?" I say, "I'm the dumbest." "Yes, they're all like me and more powerful than me." "But how come they're not doing what you're doing? You killed the blind man. You killed my daughter's ulcers. Could they do that?" I said, "They could do it better than me. But why aren't they doing it? Because they're afraid of you. I'm not afraid of God. I'm not afraid of the devil. I'm not afraid of anything, especially you. Because I don't live in fear." So I say, "Brett Howell, the black man of America is afraid of you white people because you guys made him afraid of you. And you should not feel good about that. It's not about me hating white people, loving black or hating black. It's about understanding. Nobody's going to help us but us. Nobody in this world, whether white, black, Chinese, or Arab, could help us. It's impossible for them to help us. Why? Because they don't know us. They're not of our genetic predisposition. Look, as a Christian, I used to eat pork. Of course I eat pork, and I love it. But as a Muslim, I eat lamb, which is 10 times worse than pork. So what do I do? Who do I turn to? So after I quit my job, the boss said, "Wait just a minute, because I think you're crazy. You're leaving your job as a steam engineer in 1980, when herbs in 1980, I'm making $2,900 a month. I'm going to leave my job with 10 years seniority to come after some herb that you didn't like." Why did I do this? I had to do it. It wasn't that I could see that far. I can't see beyond my nose. Talk about years ahead. But I had to quit my job. And I had to question myself, why am I doing this? But I did. And 1980, the boss is looking at TV, 1987, on the 10th day of February, and he see CNN. Alfredo Bowman, a.k.a. Dr. Sebi, is arrested for practicing medicine without a license, selling product approved by the FDA, and claiming to cure AIDS and other diseases, which is a fraudulent claim. The boss saw that. The boss' wife is in the bathroom because he told me the story himself. He called her out, "Come and see the man that's arrested." If he says he cure AIDS, I know he cure AIDS, because Bret Howard knew that I would never compromise myself to a lie. When I talk, I know what I said is the truth, but I also know that in America, you could also be dead right. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm 73 already. They killed me tomorrow, it's all over with. I rather reach 73. My brother, who was a preacher, he only got to 50. But I stuck with you, the black woman. That was my success. You, the black woman. I always kept my eyes on you. Nobody else, not the maid, because I'm one. We don't do nothing. We can't do anything. We need you. Because it is you that held our hand. It is you that breastfed us. My mother breastfed me for only 4 years. But that was sufficient. In 1962, two statements was made in a barbershop. 1640 Claiborne Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana. Timothy Barbershop. Tim Barbershop. Ernest Moriel walked in there when he was a lawyer. And every time Ernest came in the barbershop, we used to jump on Moriel. We used to kick him around the place. Moriel said, "You see you niggas? One day, I'm going to become mayor. And I'm going to remember you, Alfredo." That's me. The big mouth. I'm going to have you in jail. Ernest became the mayor of New Orleans. I was in Los Angeles, and the most hurting thing in my life was when I heard that Moriel had passed with asthma, a disease that I used to suffer with, that I was cured of in Mexico, and that I have addressed so many times. Moriel died. Ernest Moriel. Then another statement was made by me in that same barbershop. I said that I would give the black woman a gift. Brother said, Logan said, "Sapphire?" I said, "Yes, Sapphire, your mama." I said, "She was the first, you came out of her. She held your hand. She teach you everything about the basic things of life, and then she cut you loose. Now she worth nothing. She's Sapphire. I'm going to give her a gift." 1962, that statement was made. But 1962, I was sick. I had asthma, I had diabetes, I was impotent, I had everything under the sun. But in 1964, I was cured, and years went by. Then I found out this is the gift to the black woman. The healing that I found is in your hands now, black woman. Yes, is in your hands. So in 1987, I was arrested. And while I was in jail, I was the happiest man in the world. Because when I was 40 years of age, I was going to work, and I passed by Miss Louise Wright house on my right, and I made a statement: I'm going to help humanity. And here it is. 1987 is the showdown. I was arrested. All of the people in New York that were healers, I don't need to call their name. They said, yeah. They got the big mouth. They were angry at me because I put an ad in the Village Voice and the Amsterdam News and the New York Post. AIDS has been cured by the USHA Research Institute. And we specialize in cures for leukemia, sickle cell, impotent, blindness, cancer, and others. Well, after all, I did it. Shouldn't I advertise it? You should be glad your brother's doing that, because now you have a chance to share in the bounty, right? That's the way I felt. So I'm in jail, and I'm wondering, how is the American Medical Association going to escape from this one. You see, in the past, herbalists, when they talk, shh, gotta be quiet. Gotta talk under the table, because the physician may get you. The FDA gonna get you. But we seem to forget the one basic thing. When they remove us from Africa, did they bring our food with us? Did they? Well, how could the FDA have such kind of power over us now? Come on now, just wake up to it. So I stood in jail thinking, how am I going to do this one? This is going to be a heavy number, but it's nice because I wanted this moment. I wasn't going to back down. What you mean, back down? I'm representing some black woman. I never had a father. I never had a man in my confines to tell me something. No, I never had a stepdaddy. I had a woman. And then another woman, my grandmother. My great-great-grandmother lived to 124. Her name was Elizabeth. And she lived 70 years without a man. My great-grandmother lived 112. She lived 68 years without a man. My grandmother died at 100. And she lived 50 years without a man. My mother died 5 days ago. And she racked up 40. My mother died while I was coming to see you. I didn't turn back. You know why? The relationship with me and my mother was one of love. And she would have never wanted me to be there. My brother told my mother when I was about 10 years ago, he told her, yeah, you didn't like me. You didn't give me any love. You didn't give Fred any love either. That's me. So my mother said, what you say? You gave all your love to the pastor, not to Fred and me. My mother said, like, Fred, are you in on that? I said, man, this boy was talking garbage. See, he told me he's serious. I'm never serious. I don't know what it is to be serious. I hear men talk about seriousness. Well, I don't know what you do with that. But my mother said, raise your hand up and open your fingers. Which finger would you elect to take off of your hand? I said, none. She said, thank you. My mother turned to my brother and said, you said that I didn't give Fred any love. Fred, you wanted my love? I said, nope. Didn't want it. I didn't need it. Because my mother knew if my mother ever interfered in my life, I would be upset. I was in the streets by the river all the time. My mother all mother knows the child that need her love, her attention. But she love all. But she knows the one that need the attention. I didn't want my mother attention. And she knew it. But my brother said that she didn't give him any. But the boy went to the 3rd grade. He owns a fishing fleet. He owns an ice factory. And he owns a fleet of planes. And he said that his mother didn't give him love. You see how we could easily make mistakes? Okay. Mother is mother and will always be mothers. The greatest gender on the planet. So while I'm going to court now, and I'm standing, the judge said, get the man out of jail, and I went to his chambers. Judge Shorter said, young man, you mind if I ask you a question? I said, no, sir. Why did you advertise that you cure AIDS? Well, sir, my mother's alive, Africa exists, and my face, and I would never offend any of the three. That's why I advertise that I cure AIDS. He turned to the woman at the desk and said to her, ask her, did you investigate this man before you arrest him? She said, no. Her name was Phyllis Spade from the Attorney General office in New York. She said, no. You didn't investigate this man before you arrest him. This man, the response he gave me, he cured AIDS. But AIDS is the easiest thing to cure. People think that AIDS is difficult. To me, everything is easy, and to you it should be too. And I'm going to show you why it's so easy. So the judge said, well, you out in bail. And that was February the 12th, I got out of the 13th. But the case doesn't begin until 88. September. I have a year and 8 months. Why the judge gave me so much time? I would never understand. So I waited. Trial date. This is where the showdown with black and white. Not better or worse. We are not better than any white man or Chinese, no. We just happen to be different. That difference has never been treated by any religion or philosophy. There is a difference that need to be understood. So while I went into court, the judge said, well, Dr. Sebi, will you please begin? Where do I begin? Begin where you say you cure AIDS, then the physician said there's no cure. The physicians are 100% right. There is no cure for AIDS or any other disease. The judge said, just a minute. There's a contradiction here. The newspaper says that you cure AIDS. Then you agreeing with the physicians. That's a contradiction. No, it's not. When you're limited, it is. But when you leave out the box, it isn't. She said, help me. She said, of course. The physician take the position that there is no cure for AIDS or any other disease, and the physician are 100% right, according to their philosophy and their perspective. Their medicine didn't show them a cure. So how could they say that there is a cure? But the perspective that prepared me, there is cure for AIDS and every other disease. Oh my God, when I said that, the physician jumped up. Your Honor, Dr. Victor Herbert said, Your Honor, what other perspective could there be? After all, you know, this patent on us, the FDA has a patent on us. You cannot talk. The FDA talk, you shut up. Oh yeah? Well, I'm going to find out. So, the judge said, what perspective is yours? Dr. Victor Herbert, Dr. Bonanno, and Dr. Christopher said, how could there be another? I said, there is another, Your Honor. And what is the other? The African bioelectric cell food. I've never heard of such a thing. That's what the physician said. He had never heard of the African bioelectric cell food. I said, of course. But we have to remind the good physician that he have not heard of a whole lot of other things. But that doesn't deny the existence of the African biomineral electric cell food. What is it? Okay. The allopathic claim that there are multiple diseases. The African biomineral balance negate that position. There's only one disease, never been two. The allopathic claim that to treat the multiple disease, you must use a chemical, which is violating God. Right? The African biobalance said no. It's a nutritional approach, electric food. Your Honor, I told you that this man was insane and unscientific. He said there's only one disease, but there's only one. Remember, I'm the boy that didn't go to school. I'm going to break things down to the least common denominator. When I was a steam engineer, I found out that in a machine, thermodynamics I'm talking about, or an automobile, the only thing that could cause this machine to go bad is what? Short circuit, obstruction, overheating. The same thing with the human body. So what did I do? I put compounds together that would cleanse the human body of what? Of mucus. In so doing, AIDS, sickle cell, lupus, herpes, blindness. It sounds too simple, right? But that's not my fault. They have complex things, and then they deal with the complexity. And boy, that's a job. But with us, on our journey from Africa to America, it was easy because the slave master had a ship and brought us over. But getting back to Africa, we get confounded. We can't go back now. We don't know how to go back. We better not even go back. Because when I tried to go back, this is what I did. My first trip with a passport was to Kenya. So I went to Kenya and they said, where your passport? I said, I have no passport. I said, I was taken away 500 years ago. I'm back. When I left, I didn't have any passport. So why are you asking me for a passport now? Is a passport African? Put him one side. They put me one side and send me back out. But you think that was bad? That was the bad way. May I have that? I go to Africa. I go with my wife, and I said, well, boy, I'm happy. Girl, we're going to liberate Africa. We're going to do something for mother country. I go and I saw Dr. Parinyatwa in Zimbabwe. I said, Dr. Parinyatwa, I think your problems are over with. Not only Zimbabwe, all of Africa. Here is Hospital Vicente di Antoni, is an Italian hospital. Department of Blood and Laboratories. HIV positive on the 25th of November of 1993. 17th of January of 1994, HIV negative. This boy named Alfredo Lagos, this from the Red Cross, the Honduran Red Cross. It says here that this boy, it doesn't show any date of which he contracted AIDS. Why? Because he was born with AIDS. But down here it says he's negative on the 19th day of January of 1995. Another one. This one caused a laboratory to call for me. I thought it was funny. This is the next one, the other one. His name is Alex Juarez. On the second day of January, this boy of August, he found himself with HIV positive. On the 19th day of August of the same year, 17 days later, the boy is no longer HIV positive. So they called me for what? I don't know. Because I know they're not going to change it. Now, this one you're going to like. This one is from the San Diego Public Health Laboratories. It says here that this man has a HIV-1 RNA 26,205. The boy was supposed to be dead at 25, right? Just go to the other page. 6 months later, he's less than 400. He was killed at 15. So anybody want to read it? Because I could be lying, because that's the way we think. But here it is. No, that's possible. I could be lying. Here, young lady. So, curing AIDS, brother and sister, look, that's the easiest thing for niggas to do. We could do more than that. Curing AIDS, to them is big thing. To us, it's nothing. You understand? But now, here is where this little culprit comes in. Where did I put it? The blood, no good. Here it is. Blood and starch. Blood and starch. Blood and starch is going to prevent you from doing what the ants does for each other. Ants, when it's getting ready to rain, you know what they do? All the black ants, they begin to do what? Cut the leaves and take them to their little nests. Ants doesn't eat leaves. They eat the mycelia that grows on the leaves with the temperature. They are farmers, but they provide when it rains. Red ants does the same. But we black people, we can't do that. Because when your brother showed the world that he cured AIDS, why didn't the African countries jump on it? All the African people eat is blood and starch. Nothing else. But that is the Africa that you and I dream about. The Africa that we want to save. The Africa that we all love. I found out that there is no president in Africa that is interested in the cure for AIDS. Not one. No, I'm sorry. Only one. I'm not going to name the country because I may jeopardize the country. Because the one thing I learned, that when you begin to talk favorable about a country or individual, they're going to soon get him. That is a fact. So I cannot talk about the country that said to Dr. Sebi, Dr. Sebi, whenever you want to return to Africa and begin this new empire, you have 5,000 acres of land and 6 hot springs. I don't need anything else. Hot springs? 5 hot springs with 5,000 acres of land? We could grow food. We could make the best dress. I said, sir, I am not going to come to your country unless I'm able to grow marijuana. He said, marijuana? He said, wait just a minute. He said, I can't do that. I said, well, the compounds I've been giving your nephew that was autistic, that now is talking, was marijuana. And as for you is concerned, when I came here, you weren't walking. You were dying. Now you're running up the steps in the presidency. Yes, marijuana. That's a God's product. That's not cigarettes. You see what happened? My brother used to smoke cigarettes, but my brother didn't know that the tobacco that he was smoking was artificial. God didn't make that. But marijuana, God did make that. So it must have been a good reason why I was told in school that everything God made is good. Well, I know that. I live that. And I always will smoke it for as long as I live. Why? Because I have that right. I have that right. It's not everybody that uses it, from autism to arthritis, is cured, because everything that God made is good. So as I go to Africa, all happy, I came back with my tail between my legs, because it ain't happening. It ain't gonna happen. They're not interested in that. But the one thing I noticed today and yesterday, and you may have heard it, President Clinton and Sanjay Gupta, they found the end of AIDS. How could they find the end of AIDS when they have not found the end of diabetes, the end for sickle cell, the end for any disease? But they're going to tell us that they're going to bypass these lesser diseases and jump on the major one, and they got the cure for it. I got documents to substantiate that I cure AIDS, right? So what's up? What's up? Well, I'm going to show you what's up. When I was in Zimbabwe, the Department of Health said, why do you come to us saying that you could help us? And your leaders in America didn't help you. My leaders in America? What do you mean by that? They mentioned Minister Farrakhan. I said, just a minute. I don't follow any man. I follow women. And I don't follow sick people. Because if I follow sick people, then I got to be sicker. I go to Brazil. They say, why don't you, if your leaders didn't help you, why should we? I say, my leaders, again, they brought these leaders in front of me. And they mentioned something like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. I say, oh God. I say, why you all ask me about these people? I never knew of Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or Oprah Winfrey promoting something that is equitable and good for the black community. That's never been. What they could do is march. That I know. But why do you ask me about it? I'm asking you, why can't you incorporate this in your repertoire? You said me, I have no leaders. My leader's my mama. The biggest testicles on anybody I've ever seen, they was on my mama. So don't ask me about leaders. I don't follow leaders. I never was part of that thinking. I don't need anyone to lead me someplace. So now I'm asking you, what do we do now? I cure AIDS. Are you going to call Oprah? You don't need to. She could advertise 1 million pieces, broken pieces, right? But that's fine. But she cannot advertise the cure for humanity. But there's one little dude that got himself in trouble. And he was totally unaware of what was going to happen. This little dude, I'm home with my wife, enjoying myself, a Sunday afternoon, looking at TV, somebody threw a rock on my window. It's Randy Jackson. What did you want? My brother want to see you. Your brother? Michael? Okay. I went. Well, he's sick as hell. Well, I treated him, and he got cured. He saw it, and he was encouraged to take me to the Rayburn building on Capitol Hill. Oh my God. This is going to really confound you. Michael Jackson took me to the Rayburn building on Capitol Hill on the 31st day of March? April. No, of March. March. It was March. 31st day of March of 2004. I said, why are you taking me there? Because you cure AIDS. I said, but what makes you think that they are interested in that? What makes you think that the world is interested. I don't care if it's any country in the world, they are not interested. Especially Africa. They were never interested. AIDS isn't killing Africa. Hepatitis C is killing Africa. All of West Africa is red line for hepatitis C. What you talking about? But they're Muslims. So they have to eat the Muslim food, which is goats and lamb. Go tell them that the Arabs played a trick on their brain. You cannot do that. Me, I remain the son of the jungle woman. The jungle woman that didn't have any clothes on. Yeah, I am her son. I stuck with her and she liberated me. You have to hear this. One morning, I woke up and I heard the music that was playing. You know how you turn your radio on and you're sleeping, but the music on the radio would influence you and you dream that you're seeing the artist is playing, right? You ever had that happen to you? This morning, I'm listening to John Coltrane. 4 o'clock in the morning on channel 850 on the TV. I'm sleeping and I'm hearing John Coltrane playing Interstellar Space. But then something was happening while this music was playing. I was looking at a black woman doing this from behind a tree. I woke up and I didn't know how to interpret that dream. But then I was leaving that morning for Los Angeles. As I got to the airport, the governor was there. The governor said, "That's him. That's the man that cured Alcida of leukemia. That's the man I'm talking about." The governor had a lot of people around him. So I went. I was leaving for Los Angeles. He was leaving for the capital. He didn't know that we were going to meet that morning. So they was talking to me and asking me questions. Finally, 2 men that were standing away from me, they were white men from the United States. They came up to me and said, "Well, we have heard of your miracle cures." I said, "Sir, I don't even know what a miracle is. Especially perform one. I just happen to cure leukemia. That's not a miracle. To you it may be. Because your school of thought have you to believe that curing these diseases is one great big feat. No, it's simple common sense. I'm an African. Now this is where the naked woman is going to come out. They said to me, "We have heard of your miracle cures. But have you been saved?" You see? Right there, I consider that an imposition. Why do you take the liberty to believe that I'm one of those that have accepted your philosophy that I have to be saved? I say, from what? The man politely answered and said, "From your sins, of course." I said, "Wait just a minute." I said, "You know, man, while you guys were standing over there, I said, and I looked at you both, and I said, 2 very intelligent young men. But now I have to question that." He said, "Why?" I said, "Well, because the color of my skin should have prevented you from asking me that question, have I been saved?" He said, "What does the color of your skin have to do with anything?" I say, "It has to do with everything. I am the son of a woman that was taken away from the forest of Africa. She, to begin with, She didn't have any clothes on. But she didn't have any alcohol. And she didn't have any prostitution. And she didn't have any supermarkets. And she didn't have a hospital. And she didn't need anything that God didn't make. And she didn't have any money. So all these things constitute sin. So my mother in the jungles was sinless. How did I become sinful? You cut it out. You stop that. We have to begin to change our diet, because this diet here of blood and starch is all we eat. That is all we eat. And then with this diet of blood and starch, which confounds the hormonal structure, we have the nerve to tell each other's brother, you were wrong. I'm wrong? I mean, where did you get that from, I'm wrong? You've been eating blood and starch and you're going to tell me I'm wrong. No. We got to stop it. Because the blood and starch is why I couldn't penetrate Africa. So, you forgot, right? I'm in the Rayborn building. Who is present? Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, right? John Conyers, Illinois. Or Detroit? Jesse Jackson Jr. from the House of Appropriation. Our most beloved President Bush. No, we have to give him credit. And no African government ever given me the privilege to practice herbology. Bush did. Bush appropriated $5 billion to fight AIDS in Africa, right? And the African government didn't appropriate one dime. They didn't want their brother to do it for free. So Bush stands out way above there. Bush gave $5 billion. And Jesse Jackson Jr. is there. So when I go to the podium and I say, fellas, y'all don't have to look for the cure of AIDS anymore. Here it is. Jesse Jackson Jr. did this. I said, I'm going to talk about this. I have to write about this in my book. Because you, not me, but you and I believe in the leaders. We hope that they could do something, right? Well, they had a chance. So 17 African ambassadors, only one came to me from Mali. The only man came to me and said, Dr. Sebi, I have to respect your position, and I appreciate your position. You have proven that you cure AIDS, and I would like for you to go to Mali. But that's not the country I was talking about previously. He just presented himself that day. But Jesse Jackson Jr. didn't tell you that I cure AIDS, right? He didn't tell his daddy either, isn't it? And Miss Sheila Jackson Lee didn't talk about it, right? And so did John Conyers. So who gives a damn? You see? But that's good. That's good. We don't need leaders, isn't it? So we're going to do it. Because we're doing it now. Because those black women I'm talking about, there's one sitting there. They are going to tell the world we cure AIDS. But last night, Clinton and Sanjay Gupta is on CNN talking about the end of AIDS. How about the end of sickle cell? How about the end of lupus? How about the end of herpes? How about the end of blindness? They didn't find those, but they find the end of AIDS. How is that possible? Are we going to buy that too? Are we going to let them continue to say that there is no cure for AIDS when your brother is curing it? So we are guilty. We are the one that's guilty, not the leaders, because they're sick. All the leaders are sick. You can look at them and tell they're sick. So we have to forget about the leaders, right? So which animal in the forest follows a male? None, right? They all follow females. So how did we begin to follow males? I mean, that was the most, look, the one thing I wanted in my life was a woman laying by me as my significant other or my wife, that she didn't have a God or a devil in her brain. That woman is sitting there. Because I could not have a woman laying by me and she worshiping something else. I mean nothing to her. No, you worship you. That's who you worship. That's who we worship in the forest. And we were doing quite well because none of us, her children, could talk about how long did our parents live in the forest of Africa. You don't know. For millions of years since creation. Did we have money? We live a perpetual vacation. Now I gotta wear this stupid suit on. When I didn't have to wear any clothes. But now just to live, I have to have a $15,000 suit on, a $5,000 shoes. I have to have all kind of stuff on me. And then I qualify. Do you have a master's degree? Man, I didn't go to school. Oh, put him aside. So in essence, there's no one on this planet that is interested in the cure for any disease. None of the leaders, none of those who are talking, they are not interested. It was simple. It was understanding that is alkalinity that cures, not acidity. And any healer that comes to you with these things, like adding carrots, like moringa, it says here, one of the things that I are careful with, it says here, if you add carrot juice with it, it's going to help you. But just a minute, carrot was made by some dude in Holland. It's very acid. So this moringa knows that you have both eyes closed, so I could sell you anything. We don't want that anymore. We don't want to tell stories anymore. We don't want to protect the stories anymore. But you see what happened? When you have been healing or call yourself a healer for 20 or 30 years using comfrey and rose hips and recommending tofu, and someone comes on the set and says that you may not be quite right, man, you get off there. You begin to get crazy. You begin to go crazy on that person because you have invested 30 years and people know you, and now you can't turn back and say, I was wrong. Well, I was wrong. And it was one little lady, 94 years of age, named Mrs. Holloman. I was along with the rest of the healers. I was reading these books by Jethro Kloss, Alma Hutchins, Indian Herbology of North America, Myers, Christopher, also this other named Shooks. And they all have calcium in it, so I had to believe that, right? And I went to Mrs. Holloman and said, Mrs. Holloman, you got to drink carrot juice. She said, sit down, boy. I think you're crazy. I think you're out of your mind. I'm 94 years of age. I don't wear glasses. I don't need you to come and tell me to drink carrot juice because I know that carrot is a poison. I was in Rattan, the island of Rattan, and a woman was listening to me talk, and she asked me, what is the best breakfast in the morning? I said, I don't know. She said, a glass of hot water. I know she was right. The sister was right. So in essence, all of the hoopla about AIDS was just noise. We've been curing AIDS since 1984. Why didn't you know about it? The media didn't let you hear it, right? Jesse Jackson Jr. didn't talk about it, right? Well, I think in the book I have to mention his name because this is what's happening. They're lying to us, and we have to stop it. We have the cure for every disease in the world. We, the black race, is responsible, not the white, not the Chinese, not the Arab. The Arab need help. They need help now. All Arabs need help because there's no way in the world where you find the highest incidence of eye problem like Arabia because they eat lamb. But could you go and tell an Arab to stop eating his lamb? It's like going to tell someone that uses cocaine, stop. Then you're crazy. Like going to Africa and tell a Maasai, hey Maasai, you only live 47 years, man, and you're going to die because you're eating raw blood and starch. He's going to chop your head off. And he should. Then we go to Guinea, and my wife came to me running. She said, the young man in there with his wife, he's 19. And she's complaining he's impotent. At 19, she said, yes. My wife came with it. What happened? We asked the boy, what does he eat? He eats cassava. Cassava. We say raw? Yes. Go to Guinea. It's a what? Cassava. I want you to go to any African country and tell them, no, just ask them, please, why do you eat cassava? Oh, this is African. This is from history. Hey, African, I know you've been bamboozled too, because cassava is not a product of nature, nor of Africa. Cassava is a starch that needs the aid of a man to grow it. Cassava cannot grow by itself, and it has cyanide. But the cyanide has already affected the brain. He cannot think for himself. It's like talking to a Haitian or a Brazilian. In fact, the only country that I have ever visited that have people dark like me, but nobody in Brazil is black. Brazil. If you go and research the census of Brazil, you will never find a black person in Brazil. Everybody is white. That is how much they have offended us, that we hate the very image that God made. Something is wrong. Something got to be wrong. Me, I was a very good Christian and a very good Muslim, a very good Buddha. And I wanted to join the, well, I don't want to mention it. But anyway, I was a good everything. But what I found, that they were feeding me the wrong food. And I had to deny all of them because they feed us garbage. There isn't a religion in the world that have fed the black race in America or anywhere in the world the food that is consistent with their cellular predisposition. So if you, my religion, is feeding me the wrong food, then what is the message you are sending? It's like putting gasoline in a diesel car. You would not get to South Philly. No, you're not. It's not going to run right. But we're eating starch and blood, and we want a dialogue. Dialogue based on what? I mean, come on now. We are the remnants of what were. Let us try to bring it back. We can't challenge each other's. The only thing we have to offer each other's now is love. But to get to that point, a sister told me the other day, because I made a statement in the church, a brave woman stood up and asked me, Dr. Sebi, what have you learned from the entity that you are forwarding to us now? What have you learned from it? I learned to kiss everybody's butt. And I meant that. It came out that way in the church. Well, I had to give it that way, because that is the way it came to my brain. I kiss everybody's butt. It's easy. You see, it makes it easy. When you start kicking it, somebody's going to do something to you. And when you start kissing it, they reward you. So this sister came to me, and she was very smart. She said, do you literally? I said, drop your panties. Well, I came out of a woman's vagina. I could kiss her rear end. That's easy, isn't it? Is it easy? See, I have no what you all call shame. I don't know what that is. I'm not serious. I'm not ashamed. I'm not a man. I'm a male. Beyond that, I don't know. You guys are men. I'm a male. I stay there. It's easy. So brothers and sisters, look. The deal is this. We have the cure for AIDS. Now you're going to get a chance to ask questions. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to ask whatever question comes to your brain. Feel free to ask. I mean, please, don't you hesitate. Don't you feel that you have to restrict yourself. I know Brother Adis is here. He may ask a few. I'm glad to see the brother, you know. Brother Adis is a brother I've been knowing for years. Stand up, brother. When I saw the brother the other day, I was very encouraged because the brother looks good. Yes, sir. I appreciate the brother. The brother looks good. The brother, I remember him and Sultan and Kwasi in New York. I would hope that Kwasi would come. And a bunch of other brothers. It was a bunch of us brothers. We were in love. New York was, look, we were in love. There was a love that we used to share that was so nice, so warm. But none of us, or all of us, understood that we couldn't follow anybody. Because if you start following one, you have to dislike the other group. But I'm a black man. I have to love everybody. I have to love Muslims. I have to love Buddhists. I have to love Christians. So if I have to love everybody, then I'm going to make it easy. I enjoy nobody. Because I have to love everybody anyway. So it makes it easy. So now we go to the question. The sister and then you, another, yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Is it necessary to circumcise the male child these days?
Again, sit down. The sister asked, is it necessary to circumcise the boy, the male child? Well, who started that? Europeans. Who, my last little girl was born. I said, I told her mother, if this child is born and I'm not here, you will not cut the neighbor string. Okay? You understand? Listen to me now, Fanny. You will not cut this baby neighbor string. Okay. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. When the baby is born, you put the baby on your chest and let the baby suck your breast. The placenta is going to come right out. You put the placenta in a bowl and put some flowers on it. Keep the neighbor string attached to the baby until the placenta. 4 days later, it falls off the baby. You throw away everything. No cutting, no stress. No, it isn't necessary to circumcise, because I was never circumcised. It was you. Next.
I was deceived by you before and was very successful with that. But I'm a backslider, and I want to know, what is the cure for AIDS so I can get back on track?
She said that I treated her before and that she was cured, but something happened. I don't know. She wanted to get back on track. And the next question about how do I cure AIDS? Well, I have a daughter now that's 21, and she's the key to beautiful things. She's the daughter of this woman. Her mother hated me, and with all rights. The woman was right. Oh God, she was right. I have 2 wives in the same house, and this woman is in love with me. Oh God, this nigga is crazy. He's a Solomon. Nigga, look, you are a jive MF. Her mother cursed me out. She cursed me out, and I'm standing looking at Miss Margaret, and I could see the hurt in her eyes, because this woman is in love with this man that already have 2 wives in the same house. Boy, what do I do? And I find myself in this triangle here and don't know how I got in it. But years went by. She got a baby. She got pregnant. They kick her out of the house. But that's okay. She had the baby, little girl, Xavier. Xavier grew up. Xavier was 19. She cured her grandmother of diabetes. The little girl that this woman didn't want to come into the world grew up to cure her of diabetes. Last month I got a notice from the mother that Xavier just killed a woman in New York of AIDS. How do we cure AIDS? It's simple. We put the compounds together to address the mucous membrane, to cleanse the mucous membrane, to cleanse the bowels. Simultaneously, we went to the forest and found the herbs such as over here on the alkali side, foggy. I couldn't see. I was already wearing glasses, but now it's worse. But on the 17th, 18th, 19th, on the 17th day I woke up, I was looking at the ceiling, and I remember feeling so calm. A feeling that I had not experienced in many, many, many years. I was calm. On the 27th day, I didn't hear the wheezing in my chest from the asthma. My diabetes, I couldn't find glucose in my sugar. But on the 57th day of fasting, of not eating anything, I had an erection. Why? Why? Aha! They drain out. It drained out because I was taking these herbs and drinking water. Taking these herbs and juice and drinking water. And the body got a chance to do what? Cleanse itself. You see, it's easy. It's easy to bring back that happiness that we could love, that we could share. Instead of finding faults, I did an experiment. The lady said that her family had Alzheimer's. Well, I live in Honduras, among a group named Garifunas. Anybody here from Honduras?
No, I know the Garifunas.
You from Honduras?
No, I'm hung out in Belize.
In Belize, okay.
With the Garifunas.
My grandmother is from Cookie Tree, Belize. My grandmother showed me, look boy, the Garifuna people has been compromised so much so that they live far away from Africa. The Garifuna and the Brazilian are two groups. The closest black group to Africa is right here. Not even in Africa are they close to Africa. But the Garifunas eat cassava. They eat cassava. That's starch. They make a special instrument that squeezes the cassava juice out. And they make sure that the hog never comes around, because the hog drink that, he's dead in 2 seconds. The Garifuna people eat cassava. But they begin to talk to themselves around 40. And you could hear them, no, I'm not going to do, woman think I'm crazy. No, I'm not going to do that. And who's he talking to? He's talking to himself. They are a victim. They become impotent very young. But when you see them young, they're black and shiny. And they're active and they play these drums. But by the time they get to 40, the Garifuna has diabetes. He's impotent. He's sick as you possibly could be. But nobody lives to tell the story, like my wife always say. Next.
Dr. Sebi, can we just take a break real quick?
A break.
Yeah, we have to change the tapes.
A break, he says. We just begin this stuff.
And then we can come back.
That's okay, change the tape. Yes. That's okay. He's getting it. Hey, you come back. Where's the bathroom? Hey. To run to the bathroom. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A long time no see. Where you come from, girl? How did you?
I can't believe you're still around, man.
What you mean?
What's going on?
I'm only 72 years
I
old.
thought you was in Honduras and that was it.
Oh
And
no!
moved
Wait,
to
let me go to
Africa and
the.
that was
Wait,
it?
I'm gonna talk to you. Where's the bathroom?
Oh, find out, because I have no idea.
Where's the bathroom, brother? Yes, sir, my brother. Yes, sir, my brother. Empty. Distilled water has a pH of 7. It's neither alkali nor acid. So it will hurt you. So water has to be what? Spring. What is the advantage of spring water? It has all of the minerals. Scientists have recorded how many? 102. But let me tell you all something about that 102 scale. I went to Africa, to Guinea, and I went to a village named Fulamori. Fulamori is dry like the desert. But I was taken to Fulamori because I told the president of Guinea that Guinea had thermal waters, and everybody told me no, including him, the president. I say, Mr. Sarko, I'm very sorry, but I know that Guinea has thermal waters. Say, I am the president, and I'm from Guinea. You came from California. You don't know what's in. Sir, Guinea has thermal waters. How do you know? I said, when I got off the plane in Conakry, I saw some red rocks. Red rocks does not appear unless there's volcanic activity. And where there's volcanic activity, there's water. There's hot water. So he sent, I asked, who were the people in Guinea before said the French. They sent to the archive, what you call the Department of what? No, geology. No water. The president said, you see, there's no water. There's no hot water in Guinea. I said, Mr. Sacco, who was here before the French? The Belgians. I said, could I go, or could you send someone to investigate? My wife and I was out in the street. We came home late that evening. We came home to find the president doing this in his yard. He's walking to and fro. But he had this paper in his arm. So when I came in the gate, I could see him walking to and fro. When I came in the gate, he said, Dr. Sebi, they found the thermal waters in Fulamori. I felt so bad. I felt really let down, because why should I have to leave California to go to Guinea to tell them of something that they had and they didn't know? Something wrong with that. Anyway, they arranged a caravan and they took me to Fulamori with her. This woman is crazy. You could look at her head and tell she's crazy. When she got to Fulamori, she saw where it was green and water is flowing, and it's so nice, you know, thermal water brings madness out of you. She took all her clothes off in front of 5 Muslim men. Jesus Christ. Her and another African woman got completely natural naked, as you all call it, and jumped in the water. We begin to drink the water. When I took the cup, I started drinking the water. Dr. Fadiga, Dr. Diaby, and Dr. Camara. These are doctors from Guinea. Very humble brothers. They screamed out, Dr. Sebi, what are you doing? I said, I'm drinking water. When the secretary to the president heard that I was drinking the water at Fulamori, he said, you tell Dr. Sebi to fill a 5-gallon can and bring to me. Nobody would go around that water. This is in Fulamori. Listen carefully. Fulamori. This is in Guinea. When I got there, the guide asked me, how do you know these waters was here? I say, rocks at the airport. Rocks talk? I say, yes, they have tongue. If you know how to interpret their language. He said, well, yes, the water's here. We're just surprised that you know. I said, I saw these rocks. You see, I didn't go to school. I read nature. I don't read books. So, when we came back from the waters, you know, we drank the water, we bathed in it, we ate the plant that was growing in it, which is the blue vervain was growing in it, and also other plants that we recognize. Did you know that in the reports that the Belgian people had made on these waters at Fulamori, they stated that the waters in Fulamori had these very strange mineral that was unrecorded. This is why the people in Guinea, when they go around Fulamori, by where the thermal water is at, the water would give off these fires, flame at night. Well, sure, they're loaded with electricity. When I start drinking it, then everybody want to drink. But prior to that, nobody went there, not even close. Because there is nobody in the world that is as spooky as an African. An African believes in ghosts. He believed in voodoo. He believed in witchcraft. He believed in all the nonsense that doesn't help. But they eat cassava. They call it gari in Nigeria. So, an old man came to Mattoon and said, Mattoon, my grandfather told me that one day a man would come to Guinea and teach them the use of these waters. And your husband, Dr. Sebi, we suspect is that person. So you will be back. Listen carefully. In Fulamori, they had to dig down in a well to get water, but well water is dangerous because it has too much calcium in it. It would clog your kidneys. Your kidneys become a filter instead of the soil. You have to drink water on top of the soil. Nature has filtered it, now you drink it. But if you go down, it's dangerous. But here in Fulamori, just 8 kilometers out of the village, there is these waters. And there's plenty of it, but they're scared. They're full of fear. So when the president saw that I knew something about thermal waters, and he saw this, this is very important. He saw this and he asked me, could you come and build one? This is the village that you heard of in Honduras. This village was built by a man that has never been to school, doesn't know how to read nor write today. His name is Chilo. He still works with me. He built this village with me. When the president saw this, he said, could you build a healing village like this in Guinea? I said, yes. He said, well, you have all the land and you have all the thermal waters. But I haven't been able to go back because I had to repair this. This was damaged. I had to change the roof and the ceilings, new bathrooms. I had to sidewalk because you American brothers and sisters, you all are used to a certain level of convenience. And I didn't want to take into the jungle where there's scorpions and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I provided you with an environment that would be, you know, pleasing. So yes, waters are important. Africa has a lot of thermal waters, but they don't drink it because they're scared. But water has to be natural. It has to be consumed the way nature afforded to you. Distilled water has the intervention of a man, you know, like a church. You can't go to heaven unless you go through a preacher. And you have to pay him some money. Because God needs money. You see, God is not satisfied unless you give up some coins.
Next question.
Next question.
Yes, good day, Mr. and Mrs. Zorby. Sebi. Sebi. My question is, I know a young gentleman, he's 21 years of age. He was stricken at the first of the year with GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's a peripheral nervous disorder. Would you elaborate on that for me, please, and let me know what herbal remedies that I can suggest to give him?
It's a compound. It's a therapy. Everything I have needs a therapy to address it properly. You said it's a central nerve condition. Again, but the central nerve system doesn't go out by itself. There is something wrong in his intestines. Because when I was growing with this herbal journey, I thought that making a substance for the central nerve system was all I needed to do. But then one night, the wife asked me, well, hey, like, if the nerves are bad, we have to think about what caused the nerve to go bad. And I found it was right in the intestines. We have to flush something that's in the intestines. We have to repair the damage down to the brain. But you have to see her. It's not an herb. It's a therapeutical package and treatment. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sebi.
Good afternoon.
My 22-year-old son had a kidney transplant 8 years ago. He has both his native kidneys. He's on nearly a dozen different medications he takes twice a day, anti-rejection drugs, etc. How can I get him off? Because I believe that, he can come off of that and that his native kidneys can be revived, but I don't know how.
Why did you remove his kidneys?
He was actually born with post-urethral valves,
Okay.
and he was predisposed to urinary tract infections, and he was placed at about a year old on a prophylactic amount of antibiotic Bactrim when he was about a little over a year and a half. And when he was 8 years old, the doctor said that he's doing great. He was at his proper growth, etc. And they took him off without doing the prerequisite tests to determine that he still had reflux. So when they took him off with the medicine, he went into a coma because he became septic. And he got very ill. He was in the hospital.
And
for
that's
about
where he is
2 or
now.
3 months. Excuse me?
He's still septic.
No, he doesn't have sepsis anymore.
But he's in the hospital?
No, he's 21 years old
He's
now.
home.
Yeah. This occurred years ago.
Years ago.
About 8 years ago.
And where is he now? The state that he's in. What state is he in now? What is occurring?
He hasn't had any kind of infection or hospitalization in over 5 years, and he's been on a pretty healthy diet, but as I saw today, I'm giving him too many acidic foods because I do give him carrot juice. So what I need to know, well, first of all, to answer your question, he hasn't had a hospitalization or an infection in over 5 years.
That's good. So you want from me?
I want to know how he can come off of all these medicines. he's
Okay,
taken,
good.
Because they're supposed to keep his body from rejecting the kidney.
Yes, I understand.
And he got one of his father's kidneys, so he's got a good match for a kidney, but,
See the young lady and give her your name.
Okay, I have your number, so.
That's it. We'll deal with that. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Great to see you. Optimal diet, raw versus cooked food.
Raw versus cooked food. I'd rather cook food. Why? Good. I'd rather cook food because, you see, we have the impression that raw foods are better than cooked foods. Well, that depends from the perspective. That depends on a whole lot of things. Because raw foods anything that Mother Nature makes are alkali, right? Alkali means it is electrical, meaning it never dies. Anything that Mother Nature makes changes form, but it never dies because it has to go back into recycling into Mother Nature, and Mother Nature doesn't receive anything if it's dead. Mother Nature made live products go back in. So, if you cook something that is natural, would it lose its value? No. You could burn it to an ash. It still remains electrical because it is alkali. You cannot kill alkalinity. But in acidity, you could eat it raw. One of those two. We stop right there. This is a vegetable. You could take this root. This is a root head. Carrots is a tubular. You could eat it raw. It's going to poison you. You could take the burdock and cook it. It's going to nourish you. Because it is alkali. It's natural. It's electrical. This is acid. Whether you cook it or not, it's dangerous. So what difference does it make if you eat raw or cook? My tonic that I cook to cure leukemia cures leukemia. It's cooked, iron. So what happens? People are being cured and all my products are cooked. And those who eat raw food still have problems because they eat unnatural raw foods, not natural cook. You see it now? If it's natural, you could cook it, or raw, it's going to nourish you. But if it's unnatural, if you eat it raw or cooked, it's going to hurt you. So it doesn't matter. Providing what you eat natural. Providing what you eat if it is natural.
Good afternoon. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenas noches.
Bueno, you stay on this?
A little bit. I'm of Panamanian descent.
Panamanian, if you have to.
So we're not too far from.
I know Panama. I had my nose wide open. Wow, those women in Panama named Las Piñas Chile had my nose wide open. I want to kill her. I was a merchant seaman, and I fell in love in Panama. Yeah, talk to me.
Yeah, you're a Scorpio like me. Real quick question about childhood obesity, because I have a niece, and I'm noticing a lot of kids. They're very big, very young, and they have these black rings around their neck. So I just wanted to know, is there any kind of concoction you have with the herbs that we can utilize to help our kids in need? Because they're getting big, they're getting bigger,
and bigger and
they're
bigger.
getting breasts, and it's disgusting. So I would like to know about it.
Well, I have 18 children, and about 12 of them had their mother's breast. And I'm one. I had my mother's breast until I was 4. But my daughter with Mattoon, she sucked her mother's breast till she was 7. She's a grown woman now. She's running the business in LA. She never had any problem with obesity or anything. Neither has her cousins. But she doesn't eat the things that are afforded to other children. In fact, my daughter never been to school. And the first day she went to school, it was a disaster. Because the teacher made a big mistake. The teacher gave her an exam, a little test. Zave never been to school. She was 16 when she went to school. The son is in the audience. He went to school for the first time at 16 also. I didn't like my children to go to school because I didn't go. Why should they go? So Zave went, and the teacher gave her this test where it says protein, deficit, or equity. My sister put deficit. No, my daughter put deficit. The teacher says, Zave, you never make mistakes. How come you make this one? My daughter said, oh, what mistake? You put protein as a deficit. Well, she said, would you agree that the human body is electrical? The teacher said, yes. Then would you agree that the body accepts and assimilates through the process of chemical affinity? He said, yes. Meaning that if the body is electrical, the food has to be electrical. Is protein electrical? The teacher said, I don't know. My child didn't go back to school. No more. Because she knew then that the teacher needed help. So obesity is from the food that we eat. And we have, this is why there are people in Florida, and I am part of it, and in California, we bought a piece of land in Honduras, 100 acres with artesian springs and a river running through it, pristine. You could drink the water from the river. We intend to build a community of people like yourselves who realizes that the community at large doesn't help our children, because our child Zave and Sissa, well, they never had meat. Sissa never ate meat nor eggs nor anything that is bad, neither Zave nor the others. But I had to step in and put down some very strict rules. But sometime, once they got to me, one of my most precious daughter, this little girl was 4 years of age, and the neighbors said something to me that caused me to go into a state of revulsion. And I began to use some foul language because I was very angry. See, look, I'm a Sagittarius. My line is very thin. You scratch too deep, you can get violence. So, Usha used to go next door. And this neighbor used to give my child chicken. She had no respect for what I was doing in my house. And this is something that I see among us that occurs. And we said, Usha, I lost her. Usha was the only daughter that found a need to call me an SOB. But I understood that because I still love my daughter. But I know the effect of meat on your brain, blood. So obesity begins at home. But the mother's not to be blamed. We cannot blame anyone for anything. We all are in this pot, right? Taken away from Africa to America. No, we don't know what's going on. We don't know anything. And we make mistakes without knowing it. So we have to stop. Yes, it begins at home. There's a book written by a brother named Ron Seaborn, the Children Health Food Book. Anyone here ever heard about the book? The Children Health Food Book. So one day, I was lecturing in LA, and I had the book in front of me. And the little girl saw it. And they said, Dr. Sebi, could you give us this book? I asked the parents, could you want me to give the book to you? Yes, here's the book. They took it home. They read the book. The book made so much sense that when the daddy came home and the mother from work that Monday, the refrigerator was clean. Those 3 little girls took everything out the freezer because it shows in progression what occurs around 60. You know, when you eat the stuff and wait. Oh yeah, talk to me now. You have to have a machine on the eyes. So the little girl saw that. The result of the blood and the starch, when you get to 50 and 60 and 70, oh my God, at 73, you're in trouble. So they took everything out of the refrigerator. The mother and the father called me and said, you see what you did? You caused my daughters to die. But 3 months later, they came back and thanked me. Sisters and brothers, we need help. Quick. Stop eating the garbage. Stop it. Anyone that offers you protein, carrots, tofu, you question their sanity. They're trying to poison you because they have been compromised, so they want to drag you down there with them. You tell them, you're crazy. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Sebi. My question is...
Ron Seaborn, right. Talk to me.
My question is, your philosophy of cleansing and healing is based on the biochemistry of Africans. Is the philosophy universal, or does it need to be adjusted to work for other ethnic groups?
I have no philosophy. I never attach myself to a philosophy. In fact, I don't even I don't even afford myself to go that way, because philosophy and reality could be two different things, right? So I have no philosophy, like I have no religion, like I have nothing. I only have me. Okay, in the me, I knew that at some point the Caucasian and the rest of the world wasn't eating what they're eating now. And I also know that the minerals in the soil address every race, not only black. But the blacks have something in common. No, the blacks have something that is unique, unlike any other race in the world. We have a high concentration of carbon. And because we have that high concentration of carbon, there is a mineral that's been lacking to support this high carbon level. Iron. So when I put the compounds together, I made sure that the black race would receive a high amount of concentrated iron. That's the only way I'm able to cure you. And in so doing, it is an African approach, because in reality, healing is African. Healing is Arab, no European. Because the great Hippocrates was the father of medicine, right? Who? Imhotep. That was an African man? Yes. No, that was not an African man. Him no Cleopatra. Him no Queen Tai. Him no any one of those Egyptian folk that you guys follow. Imhotep made the biggest mistake in his life. You go tell that to the Kemetic school that Dr. Sebi said that they misinformed. Why? Hippocrates the Greek went to Africa because he was a philosopher. But he noticed something, that the African people were never getting sick. He went to Africa and he learned what the African were doing. The African medicine is nutrition. He went back to Greece and thus established the school of medicine using herbs. Imhotep I didn't use herbs. This boy here, you know what he did? He opened the human body. If the human body needed to be open, it would have a zip on it. So Imhotep I, because he was a mixed breed, his molecular structure was incomplete because he was half Greek and Persian. The boy didn't think straight. He didn't come out the jungles of Africa. You see, we have to make that distinction. Cleopatra was never an African. She was an Egyptian, yeah, but she married a white boy, letting you know, I don't like niggas. She went all the way to Italy and found to Greece and married Mark Antony, right? Because she was half Greek. But here we go, Cleopatra was the queen of the Nile. Yeah, okay.
Good day, Dr. Sebi. Just over a year ago, I began to have symptoms, hair loss, dark marks on my skin, a lot of arthritic symptoms, and in September, I was diagnosed with lupus. The doctor I was seeing just kept telling me, take Advil for the pain. So I changed doctors and I began to see a herbalist. He's treated me with Cortef. Oh gosh.
Just stop. Are you cured of lupus?
No, I'm not.
Thank you very much.
And
Just stop right there. You know something? The first time that lupus was cured in the family, my aunt did that. That's my wife. John Hopkins. The second time was Memphis, Tennessee. The third time, this is strange. There is a man that you guys know of that was treating this young lady for lupus for 9 years. His name is Deepak Chopra. The man that you guys admire. The man that knows nothing, absolutely nothing about the African genetic predisposition. Nothing whatsoever. Deepak Chopra, nor the other man known as Sanjay Gupta, they knows nothing about your gene. But when they make these recommendations, it is general. No. Gorillas don't eat polar bear food, nor use the same medicine. So lupus, the last one, was Mr. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's secretary named Grace Rwanda. She's in pain. Oh God, she's in pain for 9 years. Dr. Sebi, you have lupus. Don't worry about it. Lupus only means that you've been deficient of some of the most important minerals, which is calcium, iron, and phosphorus, which affects the nervous system and the muscles, not to mention the joints. I gave her the compound. 2 days later, she had no pain. And I was with Michael Jackson for 6 months. No more pain. No more lupus. I have her on tape. So, sister, you will be cured of lupus. And that's guaranteed. And you live in Philadelphia. You could tell the public, the nigga's lying, because I still got lupus. So you could tell them that, but yes, guaranteed. You want to see the sister? There she is. Next question.
Peace, Dr. Sebi. What are the necessary herbs for correcting deteriorating vision?
Deteriorating vision. My wife just killed a blind man that was blind for about 10 years. What are the herbs? There's no such thing as an herb for the eyes.
What's the therapy? What are the foods?
It's the therapy, that's right. We have to cleanse the colon, the pancreas especially, because the pancreas holds the secret to eyes. The eye does not repair itself, it's the pancreas.
Okay.
Many people are mistaken. They never associate the pancreas with eyes, but that's okay. I cure blind people with cataract and glaucoma, detached retinas and all that.
So what cleanses the pancreas and the colon? What food should I look towards?
No, what we are going to give you is a therapeutic treatment and a dietary consideration, which she will give you that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. But yes, there is hope for you. Yes, my brother.
Thank you for the lecture in the men's room.
Thank you for coming. Thank all of you for coming.
What I like to, can you give the vast benefits of the use of Maya? I'm one that takes my...
The Maya.
Yes.
The Maya is a product that I put together many years ago because I noticed something. Oh, I'm glad he asked the question. Sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is a disease acquired because the person is iron deficient. But why not? When they remove us from Africa, name one food that they gave us on this side of the world that has iron. Name one. Which one? Molasses? That comes from cane. That's acid. Come on, name another one. Who? Oat what? This sister said oatmeal have iron, and oatmeal is from oats, which is artificial, which is starch. Another one. Who? Wait. We're going to make it easy. Iron could only be derived from a substance that God made. And you haven't had those substances we will remove. You see, we had a deficit. You see, remember. They tell me, Dr. Sebi, you look good for 73. I say, boy, shut up. Because you don't know what good looking is like. Because You know, we drew Africa over here. Over here we put Africa, right? But over here, our fathers in Africa, all they had was green stuff. They didn't have any starch and they didn't have any blood. So the product of that sperm that made babies ensured that the babies would be healthy and strong without the pediatrician. But we brought over here America, and now our fathers ate blood and starch. And one night, 73 years ago, my father told my mother he loved her, made love to her, and he eaten lobster, conchs, beef, pork, starch. So that makes up the sum total of his sperm. And there he shoots Sebi out. And I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I am the product of an adulterated sperm. So how healthy could I be? I got gray hair at 70. Oh, come on. We got to step it up. We got to recognize that we are operating at a deficit. So we have no room to criticize each other. All we have room for is to share understanding and love. Hey, we need it. Brother.
Yes, my question is, what kind of help do you offer people who can't afford to go to Honduras and can't afford, like, expensive herbs? And another question is...
There are no expensive herbs.
Go ahead.
We have herbs all from $25 to $40 to $49, guaranteed to make you healthy overnight. If you can't go to Honduras, that's fine. We understand.
My second question is, do you recommend a particular, like, diet and fasting regimen?
Fasting is good. Very good. Fasting is good.
How often?
Well, me, I like to fast. Because when I fast, I'm better for her. Because I'm healthier. Like, my mother died the day I was coming here. I couldn't turn back because she wouldn't have liked that. So I said, I'm going to stop eating. But I ate last night with Linda. I'm not going to eat today. I'm not going to eat tomorrow. And when I get back, I told my wife, we're going to stop eating for about 2 months because it's good. 12 days is good. A good fast, stop eating for 12 days every year. And you drink plenty of water and juice. Water and juice and that green food plus. It's going to cost you $49.95, right? But you drink 3 in the morning. That's all you need. 3 capsules in the morning. And you go about your business. Because that's what I had today. And I have a lot of energy right now. Okay? You drink your water and your juice. And you drink your green food plus. What kind of water? Juice. Well, juice. I have tamarind juice in Honduras. But here you have to have apple juice. It's okay. It's not going to nourish you, but it's going to prevent you from going into some madness. So yes, Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Lisa Nicole Lopez. When I met Lisa, on her eyes, she blinking really fast. She said, I need help. I said, we all need help. Me too. 5 months later, Lisa was talking to me and her eye never blinked, and Lisa was nice. Lisa realized. Lisa fasted for 42 days and 42 nights. Lisa came to my hut 2 o'clock in the morning. She came with these 2 mugs of sea moss. Oh, I'm glad I'm talking about sea moss. Sea moss, brothers and sisters, I drink sea moss every day. And Lisa started drinking sea moss. And she saw her body forming up and her nerve nice. And she said, I love you, Dr. Sebi. I said, I love you more. She said, thank you. But you know what happened, right? Well, that's the way it's supposed to happen, and that's the way it happened to me and all of us. But that's okay. Everything is in divine order. But brother, yes, only fast for about 12 days a year.
What else is your meal like a day? Like, what else do you eat a day? Like,
In the morning when I wake up, she always have a mug of sea moss. And that's it. And my tea, I have an African formula.
Yes.
And also the Green Food Plus. And I'm gone. Like right now, I'm gone. In the evening, a salad. A little salad. And I put my anise salad dressing on it, and I'm good to go. But I feel good because my stomach is empty. But if my stomach was big, my back would be strained, my eyes would be bad, and everything would go bad. See, we've been eating wrong, and I have to thank Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Messenger Elijah Muhammad is the only man that made the statement that they gave us the wrong food to eat. Listen carefully, Elijah Muhammad said that. I sat and ate with the messenger. 3837 South Woodlawn Avenue. At his table was John Ali, Raymond Sharif, myself, and Harry Nance. And the messenger is sitting at the opposite end of the table, and I'm sitting at the other end. And the messenger is cutting this meatloaf, and he's looking at us. And he said, I want you all to know that the last thing need to go in your mouth is this. And I hope that all of you will leave it soon one day. But when I go to Chicago, or when I go to Detroit, they got all this stuff. They're eating turkey wings. They're eating stewed chicken. They're eating beef. And the brother asked me, are you all right? This is Jack Boyd. Jack Boyd wearing glasses, and he's 5 years younger than me. But he's eating that stuff. We can't do it. The messenger was right. I listen to everybody. Next question.
Dr. Sebi, we only have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes, just hurry up.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sebi.
Good afternoon, sir.
Listen, I just visited the doctor a week or two ago, and they see some spots on my lung about a month ago. And what they wanted to do, schedule me for operation to go through my throat, extract, I guess, a biopsy from the spots, and see if it was cancer.
Malignant.
Yes, sir. And if it was, then they want me to come back in 2 weeks, collapse one of my lungs, and take a biopsy from the lung. Now, I wasn't going for that anyway, but I guess you guys sent. What do you suggest I do?
Go to Honduras.
Honduras?
That's right. If you can't go to Honduras, see the sister anyway. Because we have something to clean those lungs. Lungs, this Argentine man had lung cancer. And Professor George Simmons from New York had lung cancer. And he was cured. And the Argentine man too, and so would you. The reason why I said Honduras is because there's a thermal sauna. When you go in there, you're going to inhale. But what you will be inhaling is the vapor from volcanic activity. That vapor has what? Sulfur. And why sulfur is so important? Sulfur are the cells that the lungs are made of. Replenishing it. Yes, sir. Next question.
I have no question to say to you, but I just want to thank you for coming to America. Thank you for coming this way. My name is Brother Raheem. I have been dealing with you for a few years now. The package that I receive from you every month works very well for me.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you so very much. You see, it's good to be useful to a brother. That is all we have to do, be useful to each other, yes.
Yeah, I want to say thank you too. I have a friend who's in the hospital now. She's been in there 2 weeks. I'm going to try to talk fast. For the last 2 months, she hasn't been able to eat. She had been constantly feeling nauseous and throwing up. She has an umbilical hernia and an abdominal hernia. And she's suffering she's starting to like lose her memory and not remember things. Her eyes are looking like she has vertigo because they're moving to the side.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
drowsy.
And then her legs have become weakened, and she's not able to really walk. They drew fluids off of her spine to see what's going on. Is there anything that I can take her? She's in the hospital. Can you give me anything that I can take her?
Go there, and I know you could buy the Green Food Plus,
Okay.
and she will see relief within an hour. That's guaranteed. Because my wife gave away a package at a meeting like this. She wrapped it off, and a woman won the Green Food Plus. It brought her pressure down, her sugar, her energy went up. Her husband came the Monday or the Tuesday. He said, I came to buy the treatment. And my wife said, okay. So my wife started putting all the bottles on the table. She said, no, I want the treatment. That's the treatment over there. He pointed the bottle in the showcase. He said, that's the bottle.
So you think that'll help her nausea and correct?
Take it to her and you see.
Okay. And what would be the bad thing about smoking marijuana?
The bad thing?
Yeah.
God didn't hear you say that.
Are you saying smoking good for the lungs,
Well, I'm a poor candidate to address that because I began to smoke marijuana at age 14. I'm 74 now, 73. So I've been smoking for 59 years. My brother didn't smoke. He died 20 years ago, and he died at 50.
Thank you. Thank you.
This girl is mischievous. Yes.
Dr. Sebi, could you give me a recommendation for chest pains that I have and osteoporosis? I already have 5 stents in my coronary arteries for the chest pain, and I still have the chest pain.
My wife just cured someone of congestive heart failure, obstructed arteries, ventricles, aorta. Please see her. Please see her.
Thank you.
That's important. A little girl, her daughter, I didn't know the woman because they're doing the healing, not me. This little girl started pulling me. And I looked down and said, hi, little girl. She said, here. And she gave me a rock, a green rock. On it, it read, may God always bless you. I said, why you give me this rock? She said, because my mother no longer have congestive heart failure. I said, where's your mama? She's behind you. And I look around. I said, ma'am, I don't know you. She said, yeah, but your wife killed me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yes, brother.
Hi, Dr. Sebi. I have a son who plays college football, and if he were to stop eating protein, there's that chance that he might lose weight. So what's your recommendation for athletes to perform better and to also maintain strength and size?
My friend Mostel in Honduras used to be an athlete. I couldn't be an athlete because I had asthma. I never played sports. He did. And now he walked like this. So weight has nothing to do with strength. Strength doesn't come from your muscles. It comes from your brain. If the brain is able to produce enough electricity to supply those muscles, you would pick up, like the Russian did, 625 pounds. 300 pounds, couldn't do it. 325, couldn't do it. Here comes the little skinny man and did this. How much did he weigh? 127 pounds. But he was receiving the maximum amount of electricity from his brain to his muscles. That is what gives you strength, not muscles. Because you've seen people with muscles walk like this, right? They had a stroke, right? So the muscle isn't receiving any electricity. Why can't he just do this? He can't, because there's no oxygen. It is oxygen to your brain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Iron. Iron again. Maya. And that green food plus, he will run till tomorrow. Yes.
2 quick questions. My family is from Jamaica. My mother, she's what you would call Indian, and my stepfather's Chinese. But culturally, I would say that they're black. Would the same rules of eating and the herbs apply to them, even though they're not ancestrally from Africa?
Well, my grandmother from Jamaica, from St. Catherine. And my grandfather from Haiti. And the other grandfather from Cuba, and the other grandmother from Belize. So you think you mixed up? What about me? And it's working.
And also, really quick, with this, are you able to fast when breastfeeding? And if so, would it change at all?
No, well, while you're breastfeeding, you should eat. Eat sea moss. Drink sea moss. Don't fast now. But breastfeed as long as you can. Don't stop. Because Chinese have the babies sucking their breast till 9 years. My daughter was only 8 years. And she didn't have to go to school. That breast milk is powerful. Next question.
Greetings, brother. How are you? I have a question about miscegenation and the dangers or the dangerous effects of miscegenation between races, such as a black woman bearing the seed of another race, maybe Arab or white, and how that affects the chromosome.
We're coming out to molecular structure. Genetical expression. 100 in magnitude would attract 90 or 100? It would attract 100. That's affinity. That's chemical affinity. So a black man, when he ejaculates his sperm into the uterus of a woman, is it the same in resonance? Yes, it is. Because they both come from the same gene structure. But when a black man have a baby with a Chinese or a white person, could there be a slight difference in the molecular structure of this baby? It's no longer white nor black. It's in between. Well, God didn't put black folks in Europe, nor Europeans in Africa. He drew lines, right? Distinct lines of demarcation. You will not cross those barriers. But today, I love you. Dr. Sebi, I love you. I said, look, lady, you're white. I can't have no babies with you. Not that I disrespect the white race. No. You're not supposed to disrespect the white race or Chinese race or Eskimos. But you have to understand that if the genetics is, like when they find a drop of blood, just analyze this blood. Oh, it's black. Well, hold it. How do you know it's black? Because they could see the difference, right? Well, what is the difference that they see that you and I were not told? Next question.
Yeah, Dr. Sebi, I'll try to make this quick. I have 1,000 questions for you. I don't know which one to ask first, but since most of us know that black is the genesis of all humanity before and after the flood, since Noah sired, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, his father, white man, we came from the leprosy of a black man.
Baby, so, I don't know anything of those things. Okay,
well, you say, wait a minute now, you talk against academic. I collected degrees, but I got my basic learning outside of those institutions, the real learning. On the other hand, biblically, we're supposed to study to show ourselves approved, but study what? We have to think. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I happen to believe we're Judah. We dispersed around the world because we're the most stiff-necked, rebellious new people in the world. We were given guidelines, and we were given a diet in Leviticus, and it includes chewing the cud and splitting the hoof. So a little meat ain't gonna kill you, or the Creator's wrong. Look, I feel that anything in excess, we know what is uric acid? Yeah, is in meat, fish, but the thing is, the pollutants in our fare, our food fare today bears no resemblance to the purity that was in it in ancient times. I had a lot of questions for you, but that's
very good. That's a very good question. Now, as we left Africa, while we were home in Africa, would you say that all of the components that God wanted us to have was given to us in Africa? Well, when we were in Africa, were we Muslims? Were we Hebrew Israelites? Were we Christians? Well, how am I going to address, because in the jungles, we didn't even have a book. You know why? You know why we didn't have a book in the jungles? We didn't need it. We didn't need it. Wait. But while we were in the jungles, we didn't need tofu. Now the Hebrew Israelites tell you to eat what? Tofu. Ma'am, please. I was invited to Dimona. I was invited to Dimona. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does the Hebrew Israelite eat tofu? Thank you. Sir, talk to me.
I would like to know is about spirulina. That's any good for you?
Spirulina.
And what herb that I can take that can nourish the whole body?
There isn't any herb on the planet that nourishes the whole body. You have to take a group of herbs, but spirulina ain't one of them. This young man went to Honduras, and he was getting chlorophyll every day. But the chlorophyll he was getting was from this plant. Anamu. That's a natural plant. So when you drink the chlorophyll from Anamu, you're drinking an electric chlorophyll.